Hey guys and girls, how is everyone on a cool, windy, kind of rainy, mid-August evening? Now I tell you, that's what we've got. A beautiful evening. It's Thursday, so it must be time to look at the deer antlers and see if they've changed much this week, how much they've grown. I think we are 15 weeks. I believe this is 15 weeks since we started this great episode. And it's been so interesting and exciting for me to bring this to you. It's just been a lot of fun. I'm talking a lot of fun. And we're going to start out this week kind of like we always do. We will look at TC and Forrest and the smaller bucks as what we call the bucks at the house. I believe that we have just about reached the maximum growth with Forrest. I don't know that Forrest is getting any larger or not. He sure is a pretty boy. Beautiful, typical 8-point, long brow tines. And I don't know that he's getting any larger at all, but he's a pretty good sized deer. You can see looking at him right there. I'm just up close. I don't have it zoomed at all. Got another little spike that's become very, very tame. You can see he's eating here with Forrest and Jenny. You can kind of take a look at him, and all he is a spike. He's got one horn there that's kind of palmated a little bit, a little broader, but that's all he is a spike. And he is exactly the same age. This is both deer's first horns. That's the way you see deer like people. Some of them are going to grow a lot larger than the other. These three deer here are all basically a little bit over a year old, and you can see that that little buck is not much larger than Nina, who's an awfully small deer. And then look how big Forrest is. And those are all the same age deer. But Forrest is going to be a pretty 8-point for his first horns. Not a record set of horns, but just a nice 8-point deer in his first set of horns. Forrest, you got a lot of fans, Forrest. You got a lot of fans. You're a good one. There's a little buck there that we haven't been able to look at all. That's a brand new little buck. That's just a little spike. That's a wild deer right there. Just come up to be with the Lucy's deer family herd up here. A combination of a couple of babies, Forrest and Nina, and then all the wild deer we got hanging around. That's just a big spike is what we call him, a big spike. Now, we don't know what he'll be in the second year, but that's all he is a spike. It's a deer that we haven't looked at all. He's just up here hanging out. And it's a big spike. That's his first horns as well. We have a lot of deer that is their first horns. And that's a big spike is all it is. Okay, we can see TC down there with the crowd. You see how big TC is getting. The nubs out there on his head are still getting larger. And I don't know that he's getting any more points than what he's got. He might end up branching out 2 more. He's still got velvet on. The velvet should start coming off pretty soon. See some other little bucks in there, mixed in there with the bunch. But there's some wild turkeys come in. But that big gobbler right there, he is just a big boy. That's all there is to it. He is a big boy. He pays no attention to me being there. He's just a big old gobbler. A little baby, little wild baby right there has tamed down and learned that Jimmy's a friend. Pays no attention at all to me, doesn't seem like. But we're looking at deer antlers grow right now. And he has none, but that might be a little boy because he's a pretty good sized little fawn. And we're trying to take a little bit closer look at TC. Might get a little bit better look at him. He's kind of lost in the crowd. There he is right there. There he is right there. You can get a good look at TC. He is a little bit lost in the crowd, trying to move a deer out of his way. And there Nina jumped in the bunch out there with them. What a herd of deer we have going. And we have 1 or 2 extras. There's a pretty deer right there. Totally wild deer. TC, I'm going to call him about the same. TC, all those big horns there. Now those out on that tip end, those might come out where they're kind of out there, 2 crab claws. That might come, a crab claw on each side. That might come out and end up being another point. There's 2 splits down there coming off his brow tine, you can see. So I'm going to say he's 12 or 14 points. Big and wide and a huge deer. Okay, we will get a really good look at TC. TC has got a beautiful, beautiful 12-point or so rack on him. You can see the nubbins coming off there around his head. Is going to add about probably 4 there to that main deal up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the other probably. So, you know, probably 11 point, and then add about 4 down on nubbins down on his head. It's always amazing when you watch those guys walk away how wide they really look. And you can see he can just about look at you there. He's completely hidden now. I was going to say he can just about get behind a pretty good sized tree, and you can see him sticking out both sides, but you can't. Look at the belly on him. He's a big fat deer. He's learned to live in the wild very, very well. He's raised in a pen. He's learned to live in the wild, and in the pen he was wilder than a March hare. When he turned him out, he's turned into a big baby. I believe that we have just about reached the maximum growth with Forrest. I don't know that Forrest is getting any larger or not. He sure is a pretty boy. Beautiful, typical 8-point, long brow tines. And I don't know that he's getting any larger at all, but he's a pretty good sized deer. You can see looking at him right there. I'm just up close. I don't have it zoomed at all. Got another little spike that's become very, very tame. You can see he's eating here with Forrest and Jenny. You can kind of take a look at him, and all he is a spike. He's got one horn there that's kind of palmated a little bit, a little broader, but that's all he is a spike. And he is exactly the same age. This is both deer's first horns. That's the way you see deer like people. Some of them are going to grow a lot larger than the other. These 3 deer here are all basically a little bit over a year old, and you can see that that little buck is not much larger than Nina, who's an awfully small deer. And then look how big Forrest is, and those are all the same age deer. But Forrest is going to be a pretty 8-point for his first horns. Not a record set of horns, but just a nice 8-point deer in his first set of horns.
Before we go in, we can take a real quick look at Whitey, because Whitey is laying right out here, right by the gate, and he's just seemingly enjoying this cool August day. It's 80 degrees, but that's really cool for August, this time of the year. And you'd look at that rack right there. Now that is beautiful right there. Guys and girls, count those. That is really special, and we're right up close to him. He's gonna walk right up here a little bit closer even. That is a beautiful deer, and we're going to be turning him loose sometime not too distant future. But there he is right there, Mr. Whitey, and he is loaded. He is absolutely loaded. A beautiful, beautiful deer. And I'm just right outside the pen, just getting ready to go in and get a look at him and Bazooka and see what they look like. But he's gonna run just a little bit. That's all right, Whitey. That's okay, Whitey. That's all right, pretty boy. You such a big, pretty boy. Yes, you are. I'm right by the gate, and he's standing probably 10 foot away. He's really, really, really special. That is a giant buck right there, boys and girls. All righty. We are now in the back pen with Bazooka and Whitey, and that is Bazooka laying over there. You saw Whitey just a minute ago. Whitey would come over there to the gate to meet me, and that is Bazooka laying down right down there, and he is just having him a great time, just enjoying the cool. It's been rainy. We've had about 1 inch of rain. We got grass in this pen here, a little grass left. And so it's a little bit nicer to walk around in. The other one, I'm going to get muddy. Definitely going to get mud on my boots. But that's Bazooka laying there, and he just looks absolutely gorgeous. There's just absolutely no doubt about it. He's just a gorgeous boy to look at, and I'm telling you, I just don't know. I don't know what to say. He's just about as pretty as they come, and he's gaining, I think. He's gaining, I believe, on Whitey. Whoops. He's gaining on Whitey. I think Whitey's still a larger boy, but you can see him laying there. He's He's really, really, really big. And he's really enjoying himself. He's just laying there in this nice cool weather. And you can see all the little babies over there, how big they're getting. Our babies are doing just fine. He's going to move over here, and he'll get over here, and we'll follow him just a little bit. He'll get over there by his brother. And you can see the two of them are going to get together. It's always nice to see those two together because those are special. Now you can see that Whitey has still got him beat, I believe, without a doubt. Whitey has seemingly added several inches this week to me. I don't know. Y'all can go back and look at last week and see what you think. But I believe Whitey's added quite a few inches. I mean, he is just really, really, really spectacular. And I don't know. You know, I think I will probably let him out and let him breed in a while like we did last year, and keep Bazooka in here to breed in the pen. Either one of them are great breed deer, but it looks like that Whitey has turned into the real champion of the bunch. They're coming up here real close. Look at that deer, will you? Will you look at that deer? My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. I just get blown away looking at that deer. He is just so spectacular, so beautiful. And he just, I don't know, well over 20 points, 10 or 12 or 13 on each side. They're long, everything's long. He's not really real wide, but he's pretty wide. He goes out there way beyond his ears. His brow tines are long. He's a pretty typical deer. I mean, he's pretty typical. He's got some extra stuff going, but he is a very typical rack. He's big and fat. Y'all can maybe remember when well, I don't guess you can, but we put him back into pen because he had been out rutting and he had lost a lot of weight and got kind of skinny, and Chris was worried about him, and she said, I don't think he's getting enough to eat. And I said, honey, he's been chasing girls, is why he's so skinny. And so she said, I just don't think he's getting enough to eat. So I said, we can put him back. So we actually opened the gate and left it open, and pretty quickly he came in, and we've had him in here, and he's been getting all he wants to eat. And you can just look and see how big and fat he is. Not only is he big and fat, he is a huge body deer. I mean, he is a huge body. That is his second horns. He's a 2-year-old deer, and he's definitely a champion without a doubt. Without a doubt, he is definitely a champion. And we go down there and take a look at the babies. We just got a few babies in this pen here, I believe 5. And there is Bazooka, which is also, I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with Bazooka. He just not got as big as Whitey. He's just not doing it. Whitey is just an absolute, incredibly gorgeous deer. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4 babies. And look right over there. And there's our 5th. So all 5 babies in here are doing just fine. A set of triplets and 2 singles is what we've got over here. And they're doing fine. That little tiny one down there, I'm sure, is a little triplet doe. The triplets are not going to be nearly as large as twins or singles. As she is a beautiful little thing, and she's also fat. You look at those babies, they're fat and healthy. They get all the South Fresh deer feed that they want. They're on demand feeders. They've got everything they want, and they are enjoying this cool weather. We've had a remarkably cool summer here in Oklahoma. And it's about 79 or 80 degrees right now. I mean, that's just about as perfect as it gets, and particularly for, you know, after the first half of August. So we really only got a couple more weeks until we get into September. Once we get that, we'll start having cool fronts come in a little bit more rain, and we'll be into fall before you know it. And these guys will start getting that velvet off really, really quickly. We're trying to get a hold of some game cameras and put on these poles, and where we can watch them scrape that velvet off. I don't know if I'll get that done. We've just got so much on our plate right now. But Whitey, you are a masterpiece. What can I say? You are absolutely a masterpiece, an incredible deer, and I sure like Whitey. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Here's a scene that we see a lot. Big fat sassy doe helping herself to some South Fresh deer feed. Those are Texas Hunter feeders right there is what they are, and they're just really, really great feeders. They're easy to fill and great for the deer. It keeps the food dry, keeps a lot of the coons and stuff out of there, although coons will pretty much, they're very smart. They'll figure out how to get into just about everything. Right there's a little baby coming up there to eat. The babies, of course, are still feeding off their mama, but they're also eating that feed. I think they can reach that barely right now, probably. Beautiful little baby. Let's go up there and see if she's going to reach up there and get her some food. I don't know if she can, but she's going to eat some off the ground. As they spill it out of the ground, the little babies will eat it off the ground. You can see again a big, fat, beautiful doe. And we've got 22 babies in these two pens, so we've got 17 in this one over here. And we're going to take a walk back there and take a look at the rest of the babies. And of course, see, the real thing that we've been looking for is Bubba. Bubba is Bubba. Bubba is something else. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. How are you two doing, huh? How are you doing? You sure are a pretty little, yeah, you sure are a pretty little girl. Yes, you are a pretty little girl. Okay, you see all the babies back there. I mean, we have got them. This pen is, it rained about a ½ inch last night and another ½ inch today. So we have got, I could have captured those guys getting ready to start running there. We've got a lot of mud in here, getting mud all over my shoes, but got my Frog Tog shoes on today. They sent me a couple pair of those the other day. Frog Tog's making shoes now, and they're really, really comfortable. Very light. I like them. But there's some babies getting ready to take off running. I thought I'd stop, and I thought to get them running because we don't get much zoomies this time of the year from the deer at the house, and we're not really getting, these are not zoomies, these are just deer taking off running because I'm walking down here amongst them. But you can see how calm and cool they are now, and one of the reasons is it's a cooler day. It's a cooler day. It's just a nice day. The deer are not panting, they're not hot. They're just really in good shape. When you look at that bunch of babies, it's just so fantastic when you see all of those baby deer like this. New life is something that is remarkable. And you look down there as I pan around through there and look, and you'll see coming into the corner of the screen down there, Bubba, 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 Hubba, Bubba, Bubba. Oh, somebody named him Hubba, Bubba, Bubba. I can't remember exactly who that was. I think it was Linda. I said, Hubba, Bubba, Bubba. I'm telling you, he is that for sure, isn't he? Look at him right there. He's just absolutely an incredible deer. You know, Dale Hagelin, that has Hagelin Farms up in Iowa, which is where we got our deer that we started all of this deer program and raised big deer and turned them loose here on our ranch in Oklahoma. We visited with him just a little bit about that big antler, that big drop tine that's out to the right there on Bubba as we're looking at him. His left would be our right as we're looking at him, and they do take those off at times if it poses danger to the deer. They actually can do that, and there's videos out there of that. Some of y'all have sent me links to some videos where they do that, and it can be done. But I tell you, it's very, very, very dangerous for the deer, particularly this time of the year. This time of the year. Walking down through here in the mud. Don't know how close I'll get to him before he will decide to run off, but I'll get down here and get down a little bit closer. But it's dangerous to the deer, especially with as hot as it is right now. That is heavy, there's no doubt about that. You can see the deer are very peaceful this evening. A lot of it is just because it's nice and cool and they're comfortable. They're very comfortable. All the babies laying there, their mama's laying around with them. It's just absolutely gorgeous up here. Look how close I am to these deer. I mean, I'm very, very close. One there looks, oh, his head's behind the deer. I was gonna say he's got his head down asleep. My heart stops a little bit when I see one laying down. I can't see his head, but you can see just absolutely gorgeous right there. Those babies over there are just beautiful. I love the babies. Thing about it, and the thing you got to think about is, had that deer not injured one side of his rack, both sides would look like that one big side. Now the other side's large also, I realize that, but both of them would look like that one side. But last year he had almost, because I think he got hung in the fence, and that's one reason that Dale brought him down and we were able to get that deer, is because he got hung in the fence and one side of his antlers was messed up. And Dale raises, he's got a commercial operation, and he said, I don't know if his antlers are going to grow back on that side or not, but if they do, they probably won't grow much, but they grew quite a bit. As his right side, as we're looking at him, it'd be the left that we're looking at, that side does not have a drop on it, is it's a pretty good side. I mean, if both sides were like that, he'd be humongous, but he is definitely humongous. Here he's going to move. We'll get him moving here. He's going to come up here to us a little bit closer. And he doesn't want me to trap him in that corner down there, obviously. You can see he's holding his head pretty straight right now. He's not having much trouble at all holding that head. His neck is getting stronger as he carries that around. You can imagine if you carried a big weight all day long, your arms are going to get bigger over a period of time. He's standing there pretty straight right now, even though now it's hard to tell the difference between the tree limbs we're shooting in between and his horns. I'll move right over here just a little bit. Over here just a little bit and take a look. Now he's out in the clear. And you can see what he looks like there. He's just, I don't know. There's your shot, guys. If you want to take a still of that, try to count how many he's out, have at it. Because he's got a lot. He's got a lot. We really only got 5 little bucks in here. Everything else, all the babies are does. The 22 deer, I think we have 17 little girls and 5 little boys. Now, the only good thing about having little girls is you have little girls, you'll have a whole lot more boys in the future, because these are great genetics. The majority of these babies right here are Bubba's babies, so you can think about what those bucks might grow up to become. Not all of them, you know. You see some of the bucks at the house, if you remember back, some of the bucks at the house were spikes and little 6 points. And then '06 was a pretty nice little 6 point with a broken antler. And then Forrest, the best one. He's the best one of the crop from last year's babies. And he was one we raised with a bottle. He also got all he could stand to eat as a baby. We fed him a lot. And looks like Bubba's going over to the other side. Another look at Bubba. I'm shooting from one side of the pen to the other, so got a little wire in between here and there, but that's another good little shot of Bubba over there. You can take a good close-up look at him, because he is something special to look at. Absolutely no doubt about that. And you know, when you're outside the pen, you can actually walk up pretty close to him. When you're inside the pen, he doesn't want to let you get that close. He won't let you get quite as close as he will if you're on the outside. If I'm out there on the road, I can get very close to him. We put a couple small bales of hay, not the big bales, but they are round bales, but not the giant ones. We were wondering if the babies could reach the feed. Well, that'll tell you right there. That will tell you right there. Now that little girl's reaching up there and getting her plenty to eat. She's chowing down right now, not having any problem whatsoever. Some of the others are eating it off the ground, but she says, gosh, I wish I was a little taller. I'm straining my neck, but she is scarfing that food down. That's a little girl. Remember, the girls have their tags in their left ear. The bucks have their tag in their right ear. And when you look at a deer in here, it's pretty much going to be a doe. There's a little buck right there. See, he's got the tag in his right ear. And he's a pretty guy. He is a pretty guy. He's very fat, healthy, beautiful deer. That's a doe. Another doe. And another doe. That's the one that was eating there out of the feeder. So they're just absolutely precious. That's all there is to it. And they're growing like a weed. They're just absolutely growing like a weed. I want to get over here and take one more look at Bubba. Let y'all look at Bubba one more time, because I'll get over here and he'll move around a little bit. It's so gorgeous. See how his head's nice and straight there, just tilted just a little bit. But he is just such a gorgeous animal and has such a magnificently huge rack on him. And he's a 300-pound deer. He's a big deer. I mean, he is gorgeous. He's beautiful. You can see he still moves beautifully if I could follow him. He's going to fool around and go back over on that other side. I want to get in the middle of this pen over here because I knew that he would do that, run around the edge, but he's got beautiful sun on him right there. Looky there. Looky there. How would you like to be out in the woods and see something like that come up behind a haystack? That would be incredible, wouldn't he? But you look at him right there. He's just beautiful. And some of you are worried about whether he can eat or not. Well, obviously he can eat when you look at how big and fat and healthy he is. Just a beautiful deer. Absolutely gorgeous. And he can move so fast and quick, just like any white-tailed deer. He'd disappear in a heartbeat out in the woods if you saw him. But there is Bubba, and he is just as spectacular as he ever was 15 weeks into watching deer antlers grow. I couldn't help myself. I just had to stop and take one last close-up look at Whitey. Whitey has become, I mean, he's just becoming one of my favorites. He is just becoming one of my favorites. Absolutely no doubt about that. He's just such a pretty boy. And you see the two right there together. It's just gorgeous. But Whitey is 2 years old. That's his second set of horns. And they're long, and there's lots of points. Lots of them out there. And the other deer back behind him, Bazooka, is no slouch. Keep in mind now that last year Bazooka was larger than Whitey. And I let Whitey out to breed in the outside, and he just had a ball out there. But you look, I think he's a larger body deer also now. And he's got his winter color on already. You'll notice how brown looking he is. That's because he's got a thicker winter coat. I should have showed you that on Forrest, because Forrest is getting his winter coat also. You can see that Bazooka is beginning to get it on the top of his back. You see where it's turning a little dark brown? That will be his winter coat. That's a great combination right there when you look at the two different colors of their coats. Already Whitey has got his winter coat and Bazooka does not. And if you remember right, Bazooka shed his horns later, and they grow a little bit later, and they may have a little bit more to go than what Whitey's does. I don't know, but I think Whitey's added this week. I think he is bigger and better than ever. Well, that's it, guys and girls. That is it right there. Episode number 15, week number 15, watching giant deer antlers grow. It's been exciting to be able to do this so far. We're going to watch them clear up into the fall. Try to do this every Thursday. It's one of my favorite things to do. To go in the pens with them. We're in the pens throughout the week just about every day, but to go in the pens with them and to video them and talk about them and really kind of settle them down and watch them a little bit. They're just spectacular deer. These three bucks are spectacular. Forrest is going to be one of them. He's not quite as spectacular as Bazooka and Whitey was. Bazooka and Whitey were born right here in the pens 2 years ago. They're 2 years old. Forrest was born last year, and in the pens also, and him and his sister Jenny were dying, and we took him out of the pen and bottle raised him, and he's turned into be my buddy, one of my pets at home, and just a beautiful deer. I don't know what kind of problems we may have when we get into the rut. I just don't know. We probably are just going to have to really be very, very careful around him, because they are very unpredictable and they can really hurt you. Many white-tailed deer kill people, so you know they're very, very different during the rut than they are now. They're lovers right now. They love you. And Forrest certainly does. But once they get into the rut, it's a whole new ball game. So that's going to be fun to watch too. So share this video with your friends. Let them know. Make sure if you're not on our Catch of the Day video, we have a Catch of the Day, which has got a scripture, a fishing tip, and a devotional for every single day. We post them 5 o'clock in the morning. We got about 17,000 people on that channel, the most important channel on YouTube, the Catch of the Day. Go in there and subscribe to that channel. Give it a couple weeks and see if it doesn't change your life for the better. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one today. Remember, I sure do love you.